13 WMAZ Morning starts now.
Well, it's a relatively cool morning, but still humid out there. Some relief on the way in terms of a cold front after a hot afternoon. Details are coming up.
An update to the deputy shot at during a traffic stop in Bibb. We give you details on what officers say happened. Plus, new roadblocks for medical marijuana across the state. We explain the state commission's decision.
And if you were born a rambling man or a rambling woman for that matter, it's a big weekend for you. GABAFest brings people from around the world, and we'll tell you what you can expect from the celebration of the Allman Brothers Band in this week's Scene 13.
Good Thursday morning, Central Georgia. You're taking a live look over a truly beautiful downtown Macon. The time is now 6:31 a.m. here on this September the 22nd. Happy Baby Friday. I'm Wanye Reese. It's the first day of fall, but we got to get through the last few hours of summertime first, Alex.
Yeah, that's right. The fall equinox officially comes at 9 o'clock tonight, and Mother Nature is waiting until the last possible second to get fall in here because we're going to be in store for a hot afternoon. 65 in Macon, 66 Warner Robins, 70 out in Butler this morning, 69 in Soperton, 65 in Sandersville and in Wrightsville. Seeing a few patches of fog out there this morning. Visibility down to about 2 miles there in Eastman. It was down to a half mile earlier this morning, so some improvement there. Elsewhere across the southeast, fairly quiet. You've got to go up into Kansas, Missouri to find any rainfall. That's actually sliding down towards the south in the form of a cold front, which will provide some relief from these temperatures you're about to see. How about the mid-90s this afternoon, 95 there by about 4 p.m. The average high for this time of year is 86. I'm forecasting a high of 96, a few isolated showers out there, and it is the first day of fall. So like I said, squeezing every possible ounce of summer out before we get fall in here. Cold front arrives later on tonight, and it'll be windy at times tonight, including through tomorrow. I'll have details on that and what we're watching in the Caribbean coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Alex. We'll check in with you soon. But today out of Macon, we're following a man now in custody after firing shots at a Bibb County deputy during a traffic stop. A high school student dead after a car crash. And developers already showing interest in a huge residential and retail project in East Macon. Let's take a look at your top morning headlines. Let's start off here in Macon. A man now in custody after firing shots at a Bibb County deputy during a traffic stop. It happened just before 5 yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Coliseum Drive and Emory Highway. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says deputies stopped a driver. The driver got out of the car and shot at a deputy, and the deputy fired back, but no one got hit by gunfire. Deputies arrested him and took the man to the hospital for treatment injuries he got rather, while resisting arrest. Right now, East Lawrence High School mourns one of its own after a student died in a car crash that hurt 3 others. In a Facebook post, the school announced 17-year-old Carlos Graves died in a car accident Tuesday. Lawrence County School District Public Information Officer Pat Brock says 3 other students were involved in the wreck and 2 are in the hospital after surgery. The obituary for Carlos says he was a senior at East Lawrence, involved in several student groups. The school called him an amazing young man who always met everyone with kindness, certainly sending prayers to his family. While the Facebook post that they made included details for Carlos's funeral and visitation that's happening tomorrow, it will be at Chan Stanley Memorial Chapel in Dublin at 2 p.m. Well, Macon's mayor says he's already hearing from developers interested in a huge retail and residential project on the edge of downtown in East Macon. Bibb commissioners plan to buy more than 21 acres across from the Macon Centerplex for the project. They want to add a new hotel, shops, restaurants, and places to live. The next step is finding a developer. Mayor Miller says 3 developers contacted them yesterday. The county hopes to close on the property by January.
I can't say what I would probably have to do if me or my family were in an emergent situation on the other side of that tracks.
And does it scare you?
It scares me to death.
Several times a week, sometimes daily, this Juliet train crossing is blocked by a stopped train. But now the sheriff's office and residents say that annoyance is a public safety issue. Deputies, paramedics, and firefighters have all been delayed responding to emergencies because of a parked train. What's being done about it and how Norfolk Southern is responding. 13 investigates tonight at 11. But right now, medical marijuana in Georgia hit another roadblock. The state commission that awards licenses to grow medical marijuana was set to award 6 of those licenses yesterday, but only awarded 2. One of the 2 companies licensed yesterday has ties to a former Georgia Congressman, Tom Price, but that action leaves 67 other applicants behind who are not happy. Some of them filed motions in court to stop the whole process. They argue the decisions to award these specific licenses were flawed, politically motivated and not consistent with the law. Georgia legalized medical marijuana 7 years ago, but nobody in the state is legally producing medical cannabis just yet. In other state news, the first batch of assistance payments are rolling into bank accounts for Georgians enrolled in statewide benefit programs like SNAP, Medicaid, and Peach Care for Kids. Governor Brian Kemp announced the $350 payments last month in an effort to help vulnerable Georgians dealing with inflation and the economic impacts of COVID-19. The Department of Human Services says if you use email as your contact preference and gateway, you should get your money first. If you have email and U.S. mail listed as your contacts, those payments will start rolling out next week. Today, Stacy Abrams is holding a press conference and rally in Macon. At the event, she'll hear from and speak to Georgians about her plans to lower the cost of health care, invest in public safety, create jobs, and fully fund education. It's at 5 in the evening outside of Atrium Health Navicent Medical Center. Today, Macon Bibb County Mayor Lester Miller will issue a call to prayer atop Coleman Hill. He joins the Hope for the Heart of Georgia prayer team and Middle Georgia Christian churches in the effort. They say they are coming together in unity to spread the love of Jesus at 4 p.m. Well, today our very own Frank Malloy is hosting Rebuilding Macon's 5th annual fundraiser. It features live music, a silent auction, and it's all for a great cause. The Macon Cookin' Fundraiser features popular dishes from more than a dozen local restaurants. It's all happening at Fall Line Brewing Company tonight at 6. Their mission is to raise money to help elderly and disabled people around town with home repairs.
Well, Macon, Georgia has a big need for helping our elderly and disabled stay in their homes. There's a lot of substandard houses, and our volunteers go out and make these homes better for all of our neighbors.
Well, this weekend, you can celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month at Smiley's Flea Market in South Bibb County. The event will offer a taste of classic dishes from Puerto Rico, Colombia, and more, all while listening to live music from Hispanic heritage groups and some local artists. The festival goes from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. Sunday at Smiley's Flea Market on Hawkinsville Road. Also this weekend, you can enjoy a celebration of all different cultures at Perry's International Festival. It's this Saturday downtown. The free festival celebrates the cultures of more than 25 countries. Now, if you want to come out, it all starts at 12 p.m. and it's going to be running until 8. Coming up on 13 WMAZ Morning.
As the sun sets after another day, the sky may be filled with beautiful hues of red and orange. I'll explain why those specific colors grace us at sunset.
Plus, our morning reporter TJ Anthony is standing by to bring you this week's Team 13, and we tell you about the Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association and what they're working to do. The time is now 6:38 a.m. here on your Thursday morning. Of course, a lot going on as usual in Central Georgia this weekend, and it seems like the weather's going to be nice to enjoy it.
Yeah, we had a several stretch of weekends that was not great in Central Georgia, but now we've kind of getting into that fall pattern just a little bit. But not before we get through today.
True.
So 96 is what I'm going with for the high temperature today. 94 is what we did yesterday. The average high for this time of year is about 87. And that will continue to fall as we move deeper into fall. 65 here in Macon this morning, 66 in Warner Robins, 63 in Sparta, and 68 in Swainsboro. The dew points are up there as well. We're seeing a fairly humid morning compared to what we have seen the past several mornings here in Central Georgia. But that's all about to change thanks to a cold front that's sliding its way south this morning. You can see it there on the Tennessee state line. That's going to bring some cooler, drier air here into Central Georgia. So as we head through the day today, temperatures rising very quickly into the 90s by the noon hour. But then here come a few showers later on this afternoon. This is going to be ahead of that front coming on through. By about 11 p.m. tonight, the front will clear Central Georgia. It will be windy at times through the overnight hours. And then as we head into tomorrow morning as well, a few clouds in and around the area, but the windy conditions continuing. Gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour potentially. Once we get into the afternoon hours, the wind will let up. But notice here we are at about 4 p.m. Temperatures pushing 80 degrees, and that's it. So we're going to spend the majority of the day tomorrow dry with temperatures in the 70s and sunny skies across the area. And once we get into Saturday morning, some chilly temperatures with overnight lows in the mid 50s, maybe even low 50s in a few spots. But we are talking about an active picture here in the tropics. We of course have Hurricane Fiona moving away from the Turks and Caicos closer to Bermuda as we head into the next few hours and into the next day or so. Going to pass by as a Category 3 hurricane. Tropical storm Gaston up there in the North Atlantic. Not worried about these two systems right now. What we are watching is this. Now Now, you might be wondering, we've been watching this for a few days now. Why hasn't it developed? Well, the conditions aren't exactly favorable for it to develop right now, but in the coming days, they're expected to become more favorable. What's going on is that there's some winds in the top levels of the atmosphere. And what you need is, calm all around the storm for the spin to develop, meaningfully. But we're not seeing that just yet, and we're going to be watching that for here in the coming days. Now, here's a look at the spaghetti models on this. These are the different members of the GFS model. Notice that red line right there. That's the main GFS model. All of them pulling this into the Gulf of Mexico, which of course is something we need to watch very closely this time of year. We're going to continue to do that. Ben, Taylor, Jordan, myself here in the Weather Center. We do have isolated showers on tap for today. 96 going to be the high temperature. It's the first day of fall. Sun rises at 7:23, and even though it's the first day of fall, the sunset time doesn't match up just yet. You get 12 hours of daylight on the equator on an equinox day. Look for an overnight low of about 61 tonight, cooling off rather quickly with some windy conditions at times. And we'll hang around for tomorrow as well. 96 today, 80 tomorrow. A 16-degree temperature swing in terms of the high. Winds out of the east-northeast 10 to 15. Once we get into the weekend, temperatures warming back up ahead of another front that arrives on Sunday with a 30% chance of rain. Then into next week, increased cloud cover with temperatures back down to 80.